Shalom everyone, I'm going to continue the series of the great Oriental Rabbanim, and it's going to be Hilula on Yud Aleph Tevet this week of a very famous Rabbi Rabbi Yehoshua Sharabani, actually from Iraq, another one of the great Iraqi Rabbanim from Bogdad, naturally. And later on, as I will relate in due course in the coming minutes, that he became the rabbi of the Bקעה neighborhood in Jerusalem after he made Aliyah at a later stage in his life. And it's interesting, he actually passed away more than 50 years ago in the English calendar on the 16th of December in the year 1972. So we're talking about more than 50 years now. He was born in Iraq, and his parents were Yitzchak and Aziza Sharabani. And he learned naturally inside the yeshiva many years of his life, the yeshiva of Rabbi Elisha Dangor, very, very famous Iraqi rabbi. And later on, he learned under the auspices of Chacham Shimon Agassi, also one of the great Sephardi Rabbanim of the 19th and the 20th century. And later on, inside the year, the Hebrew calendar year, Taf Reish Nun Vav, he moved and made Aliyah to Israel, to Eretz Israel, and he lived in a neighborhood in Yerushalayim. He came to Jerusalem inside the neighborhoods over there. And he was automatically appointed in a prominent position in the yeshivat of the Beit HaMidrash, which was called the Shoshanim LeDavid, very famous yeshiva synagogue here in the Shkhonath of the Bukharian neighborhood in Jerusalem, where I very much recommend, if someone's coming to Jerusalem in modern day, to come and visit that area. And after the happenings, let's say in Taf Reish Pei Tet, he moved to and became a rabbi of a kehila, a Sephardi kehila in the Hebron territories for a number of years over there. So he's spreading his wings around, giving away his great Kabbalah, his great Torah, his Torah mastermind in the various areas, neighborhoods of Israel after he had made Aliyah respectively. And it happened to be in the Hebrew calendar year, Taf Shin Bet. He started to learn in the yeshiva of Shoshanim LeDavid. He gave shiurim over there in Gemara and the Talmud, delved in the greatest mystics of the Talmud, and had a specific 20 core students, great students there happened to be, that became many of these great Rabbanim of Jerusalem at a later stage. And it was in the year Taf Shin Tetvav, he actually, when there was the establishment of the Yeshivat Porat Yosef in Jerusalem, the famous yeshiva, he actually became part of a contingency that opened up a yeshiva of Mukubalim in Israel. And this yeshiva was called the Oz V'Hadar, very famous yeshiva even to nowadays. And he was appointed the president of the yeshiva, very, very prominent position for a very prominent yeshiva. And there's a legend saying that he helped the Ben Ish Chai track the Bnei Menashe, part of the Indian community, actually traveled to India at one stage in the time, and he very much had a very big role to play when they traveled to that territory. And later on, when he came back to Israel, he started learning Kabbalah once again. He was learning alongside with Chacham Salomon Eliyahu, very, very great rabbi, and actually helped him, assist him write a famous book, a famous publishing of the Kerem Shlomo, very, very famous book. Even nowadays it can be seen. And he was a chavruta also of another very famous rabbi many of you would have heard also. His name was Rabbi Yaakov Chaim Sofer, and helped him publicize another sefer, another publication, and the contrast, which according to some opinions, it had become lost at different times. I was teaching for many years in Israel until he had passed away back in the year 1972, 16th of December naturally, or 11th of Tevet, which we're coming into these dates. So he was teaching for many years in yeshivot, or as president in yeshivot, helped writing sefarim. One of the great rabbis from Iraqi lineage from the last 200 years. Remember, I was relating over that there were so many great Iraqi Chachamim. I've done videos on Chacham Abdallah Somech. I've done the videos on the Ben Ish Chai in the past. And actually, one of his grandsons would actually become also a great rabbi, Rabbi Yehuda Mo'olam, which I gave, I believe, a talk about around the Sukkot time period. I gave a a small tidbit on him. I spoke on the great Rabbi. So he left us with a lot of great descendants, also a lot of great Rabbanim. He also helped in publishing a book called Masachet Beitzah. This obviously naturally from the Talmud. This was written, a publication, a chibur, on the Paskei Harosh, one of the great Rabbanim over there. And it's very much, very, very good. And his sons, he left many descendants, great Talmudei Chamim. Harav David who became a rabbi in Colombia, another interesting territory in South America. So he's spreading his ring. Rabbi Yitzchak Shimesh Kedayan, also Rabbi Shaul, who was a Shimesh and a Kedayan, the Tzad Harav Ezra Atiyah. Ezra Atiyah, one of the great Sephardi Rabbanim of the 20th century, naturally, who was of the head of the Beit Din of the Jerusalem Sephardi contingents, let's say, who was alongside with Rabbi Reuben Katz, another one of the great Rabbanim, who was actually naturally the Rabbi of Petach Tikva, who I believe I've mentioned before also. There was also Rabbi Yosef Chaim, Miyasad Yeshivat Mekoblim Emet V'Shalom, or also he had that yeshiva for the Kabbalists, Emet V'Shalom, and also Rav Shlomo, and he was a Melamed, also the Yeshivat Porat Yosef. And he's got many different grandsons related before. Chacham Yehuda Moalem, who I did a share on. Odi Sharabani, also and Harav Reuben Sharabani. And left us with a lot of great descendants of great Talmudei Chamim. People that are, anashim of great chesed they were. And he's featured also in many of the different authorships, many different books. You can actually read about him in Yeshivat Baghdad. There's a book from Moshe Shabbat. There's a Shalom Meir Balach that spoke about the Rabbeinu Ha'or L'Tzion in Chelek Aleph, where he's featured also inside. And many great dealings, and it's going to be his Hilula this week on Yud Aleph Tevet, straight after Asara B'Tevet. So let's light some candles in the great Rabbi, the great Cham's memory. Let's learn about him online. There's not much spoken in the English language about many of these great Rabbanim who I've been relating over the last year. You know, it's important that we learn over, we perpetuate their information, all the great things they've done. And may his great zechuyot, so much great zechuyot of Chacham Yosef Sharabani be protecting all of Am Yisrael in modern day even. And let's learn about him. And it's his Hilula, 50 years since his passing. Let's light candles, and Bezrat Hashem, may his zechuyot be protecting all of Am Yisrael. I want to wish you all a good winter at the moment. It's we're in the middle of the winter, cold weather here in Israel naturally. And I forgot to say, it was also, I believe he was buried in Har HaZeitim, which many of the great Rabbanim were also buried. So let me just add that also. Have a great day, guys, and please all be well. Shalom.